Welcome, deep divers. For generations, the Great Wall of China has stood as this uh, massive emblem of human ambition, often painted as just one single structure, so immense. They even say it's visible from space.
Right. That old chestnut.
Exactly. But what if that iconic image, and honestly, a lot of what we think we know is, well, far from the whole story?
There's definitely more to it.
Today, we're basically tearing down those myths. We're diving deep into the incredible complexity of this global icon.
Sounds good.
Our mission is pretty clear. We've gathered a whole stack of sources, really comprehensive stuff, to unpack the Great Wall's amazing history, its true dimensions, where its names actually came from.
Which is fascinating in itself.
Totally. And its current condition, which is, frankly, often quite fragile. We want you to be able to sort the facts from the popular legends.
And understand why it's so much more intricate, more surprising, and really more human than just one long barrier.
Exactly. We'll even get into some counterintuitive facts, like what 10,000 li really means, or the actual total length they figured out recently. So let's dig in.
Okay, so interestingly, the name Great Wall itself, it carries layers of history, different interpretations, even in the original Chinese.
Oh, how so?
Well, our sources show the traditional name is Wanlin Changqing, literally 10,000 li long wall. But here's the key thing that kind of shifts how we see it. 10,000 isn't literal. It's not an exact measurement.
Wait, so it's not like they, I don't know, measured out exactly 10,000 li and stopped? That kind of messes with the image in my head.
It does, right? Think of 10,000 won more figuratively, like how we use myriad in English. It just means innumerable or immeasurable, signifying vastness.
Okay, so it's about the idea of its huge scale.
Precisely. And even the lin unit itself was irregular back then, usually around 540 meters, but it could vary. So right from the start, the scale was conceptual, not strictly numerical. It shows how language shaped the legend even then.
That's a really powerful point to start with. And I'm guessing Great Wall wasn't the only name it had over the centuries.
Oh, far from it. Sima Qian, the ancient historian, he used long walls, Chongcheng, for both the separate walls of the warring states and Qin Shi Huang's unified one.
Right.
But medieval records, they use all sorts of terms. Frontiers, ramparts, barriers, outer fortresses, border walls, even poetic names like Purple Frontier or Earth Dragon.
Earth Dragon.
Yeah. It wasn't really until the Qing period that long wall became this sort of catch-all term for all these different border walls, much like how we use Great Wall today. So the very idea of the wall evolved over time.
Okay, so if it's not one single continuous wall, and it's had all these different names, what is the Great Wall then? How should we think about it?
That's the key takeaway, really. It's crucial to understand it's not one single unbroken thing. It's a massive, complex system of fortifications.
The system.
Okay. Yeah, including multiple stretches of actual walls, but also trenches, ditches, individual fortresses, all built and rebuilt over 2,000 years by different dynasties.
Right. It's recognized globally, though, UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Absolutely. And one of the new 7 Wonders of the World from 2007, that speaks to its monumental scale, even if it's fragmented.
And that scale, the official length from that 2012 survey, that really puts the nail in the coffin for the single line idea. What do they find?
Oh, it's staggering. The total length, based on that big mapping survey by China's National Cultural Heritage Administration, it's 21,196.18 kilometers.
Wow. What is that in miles?
About 13,170 miles. And that number includes tens of thousands of individual wall sections, plus thousands of ramparts, trenches, buildings, passes.
It's like an entire defensive network.
Exactly, not just a wall. And that complexity often gets missed.
Okay, that scale is mind-bending. So with that complexity in mind, let's go back in time. We often link the Great Wall to one main guy, Qin Shi Huang, but the groundwork was laid much earlier, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Wall building techniques were known in China way back, like the Spring and Autumn period, 8th to 5th centuries BC.
Okay.
And during that time, and later in the Warring States period, you had states like Qin, Wei, Zhao, Qi, Han, Yan, Zhongshan. They all built their own extensive fortifications, protecting their own borders.
Right, so lots of smaller walls first. What were they like?
Mostly stone or rammed earth and gravel. Designed for, smaller arms, more localized conflicts. Not quite the Ming walls we picture today.
And then comes Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor, 221 BC, the name everyone associates with the Great Wall.
That's the one. When he unified China, he ordered the internal walls, the ones dividing the old states, to be destroyed.
Makes sense.
But then, to defend against the Xiongnu nomads from the north, he commanded linking up existing fortifications along that northern frontier and building new parts. The principle was sort of build and move on, a bit more fluid.
So he connected existing stuff and added to it. But how much of his wall is left?
That's a key point. Very little, actually.
Hmm.
Most Qin walls were rammed earth, and they've largely eroded. Few sections survive today.
So the whole idea that this one emperor built the entire thing we see now, definitely a myth.
Oh, absolutely a myth. Later dynasties, the Han, northern dynasties, the Sui, they all repaired, rebuilt, or expanded sections. Huge cost, huge effort, always defending against northern invaders.
Right.
And it's worth noting, too, that non-Han dynasties, like the Northern Wei, Liao, Jin, Western Jia, they built defensive walls, too, often even further north into Mongolia.
So it wasn't just a Han Chinese project?
Not at all. It was a common defensive strategy against that persistent northern threat, used by various rulers.
Okay, so many dynasties played a part, but the Ming dynasty walls,
Yeah.
those are the really iconic ones, right? The ones we mostly see in photos. What made their approach different?
Yes, the Ming, 1368 to 1644, they made the most substantial and honestly the most lasting contributions. This massive building effort really ramped up after a big defeat by the Oirats.
Ah, okay. A reaction to a threat.
Exactly. Their new strategy was building walls along the northern border, specifically following the southern edge of the Ordos Desert, trying to counter Mongol presence there.
And these Ming walls looked different, were built differently.
Oh, significantly. Way stronger, more elaborate. Mainly because they used bricks and stone extensively. Much more durable than rammed earth.
Ah, the brickwork we recognize.
Right. And they built tons of watchtowers. Estimates go up to 25,000 along the Ming sections.
25,000, wow.
Yeah. There was General Qi Jiguang, a key figure. Between 1567 and 1570, he oversaw building 1,200 watchtowers just near Beijing. He even faced older rammed earth walls with bricks to beef them up.
Smart.
And they also built the Liaodong Wall that was more of an earth dike with moats protecting farmland from Jurchen and Mongol raids. It was a really comprehensive long-term defense plan.
And it played a big role right at the end of the Ming dynasty with the Manchu invasions.
It did, yeah. The wall was crucial in holding them back for a while. The Shanhai Pass, heavily fortified, was especially important.
But it didn't hold forever.
No. In 1644, a pivotal moment. The Ming general, Wu Sangui, actually opened the gates at Shanhai Pass. He made a deal with the Manchus, hoping they'd helped him kick out rebels who'd taken Beijing.
Oh, that backfired.
Massively. The Manchus took Beijing themselves, crushed the rebels and the remaining Ming forces, and boom, established the Qing dynasty. And that pretty much ended the wall's main job as a military line.
So, under the Qing, with China's borders pushing outwards, the wall became less relevant militarily.
Pretty much, yeah. The borders extended way beyond it. Its role as a primary defense line was basically over.
Interesting. Did the Qing build anything similar?
They did build something called the Willow Palisade. It followed a line sort of similar to the Ming's Liaodong Wall, but its purpose was different, mainly to stop Han Chinese migrating into Manchuria. Shows how these barriers changed function with the politics.
Okay, given the sheer scale of this, especially the Ming efforts,
Yeah.
how did they actually build it? What were the techniques? Seems like a massive undertaking.
Huge. And the methods really evolved. Early walls, like we said, mostly rammed earth, stones, wood. But the Ming, that's when heavy use of bricks, tiles, lime, and stone really took off.
And bricks made it faster somehow.
Yeah, surprisingly, bricks, being uniform and relatively light compared to giant stones, were actually easier to transport and handle. It sped up construction and made the walls much stronger.
So they were basically mass-producing bricks near the sites. And using stone strategically.
Exactly. Stones, cut into rectangular shapes, were key for foundations, the inner and outer edges, gateways, places needing serious weight-bearing strength. Bricks filled in the rest.
And you mentioned lime. And was there a special mortar?
There was, and this is pretty cool. They often used a sticky rice mortar, basically sticky rice soup mixed with slaked lime. It acted as an incredibly strong binder for the bricks.
Wait, sticky rice, like the stuff you eat, that's amazing. Ancient superglue.
Pretty much. It holds up remarkably well.
Okay, I have to ask about this, though. There's that persistent kind of gruesome legend about human bones or bodies being mixed into the mortar or the wall itself. Any truth to that?
Yes. That one comes up a lot. It speaks to how dark myths can get attached to massive projects. But let me be clear. There's absolutely zero historical or archaeological evidence for that. None.
Good to know. Definitely debunking that one.
It's pure misconception, likely fueled by the immense human cost of the construction in terms of labor, not materials.
Right. So beyond just being a physical barrier, how did it function as a defensive system? How did they communicate along, thousands of miles?
It was very integrated. The battlements, for instance, had these defensive gaps, crenellations about 30 centimeters tall, 23 centimeters wide, perfect for guards to look out and shoot from.
Okay.
And communication was key. Signal towers were crucial, built on hilltops, high points. They used smoke signals during the day, fire signals at night.
Like an ancient telegraph line.
Exactly. Messages could travel incredibly fast, warning garrisons, calling for reinforcements.
And there was more built into the wall complex.
Yeah, things like troop barracks, garrison stations, armories, stables, often built right near the inner surface. Even wooden gates could sometimes be used as traps. But it wasn't just military.
Oh, what else?
Well, it functioned as border control, too, regulating who came in and out, imposing duties on goods, especially along the Silk Road parts, and generally controlling trade. It was a tool of the state in many ways.
Interesting. Okay, let's shift perspective. How did the world see this thing? What did early European visitors make of it? Was it instantly famous?
This is actually pretty surprising. Major European travelers in the 13th, 14th centuries, people like Marco Polo, William of Rubruck, they don't mention it at all.
Really? Marco Polo didn't mention the Great Wall.
Nope. Ibn Battuta, visiting around 1346, heard about it, connected it to a Quranic legend, but couldn't find anyone who had actually seen it. Suggests maybe the parts he was near weren't that impressive then, or just not widely known to foreigners.
So when did Europeans start talking about it?
Accounts really only started trickling into Europe in the early 16th century after they started arriving by ship. But even then, it took a while for someone to actually see it up close from the inside. The first recorded European to enter China via the wall was a guy named Bento de Goy in 1605 at Jiayu Pass.
And what were those early descriptions like?
Initially, often quite modest, based on hearsay, Bishop Juan Gonzalez de Mendoza in 1585 called it a superbious and mighty work, but he hadn't seen it. Over time, though, accounts got more exaggerated.
Hyperbole kicked in.
Big time, including that wrong idea that the Ming walls were built way back by the first emperor. It wasn't until after the Opium Wars, really, when China opened up more, that late 19th century travelogues cemented its legendary status and turned it into a major tourist draw.
Which brings us neatly to maybe the biggest legend of all. Can you actually see the Great Wall from space? I feel like everyone's heard that one.
The space question. It's such a persistent myth. Let's break it down. First, the moon. Absolutely, unequivocally no. You cannot see it with the naked eye from the moon. Think about it. Its width from the moon would be like looking at a single human hair from about 3 kilometers or 2 miles away. Impossible.
Right. That puts it in perspective. Where did that moon idea even come from?
It has a surprisingly long history. Goes back to guys like William Stukely in 1754, Henry Norman in 1895, and it was even in a Ripley's Believe It or Not strip in 1932. So it's been around a long time.
Okay, so moon's out. What about closer low Earth orbit, like the space station?
Okay, low Earth orbit, that's roughly 100 to 200 miles up, or 160 to 320 kilometers. NASA's official stance is that it's barely visible and only under nearly perfect conditions, and it's definitely not more conspicuous than lots of other man-made things like highways or city grids.
Barely visible, so it's not like this giant obvious line.
Not at all. And what's interesting is the conflicting astronaut accounts. Some, like Gene Cernan and Ed Lu, claimed they could see it. But China's own first astronaut, Yang Luai, specifically said he could not see it.
Huh. Why the difference?
Conditions, maybe knowing exactly where to look. The European Space Agency even mistakenly released a photo they thought was the wall, but it turned out to be just a river near Beijing. Shows how tricky it is.
So it's complicated even from orbit, not a simple yes or no.
Not simple at all. Probably the best take comes from Chinese-American astronaut Leroy Chiao. He took photos from the ISS, and even looking at them later, the wall was so faint he wasn't totally sure he'd captured it.
Wow.
So the nuanced conclusion is maybe, possibly, under perfect conditions, if you know precisely where to look and what you're looking for. But it's absolutely not the prominent, easily spotted feature legend makes it out to be.
Okay, that definitely recalibrates that whole image.
Yeah.
So moving from myth to the present day, we see these beautiful restored sections in tourist photos. But what's the real condition of the wall overall? Is it all like bottling?
No, definitely not. It's very much a mixed picture and honestly quite stark in places. Yes, sections near Beijing and major tourist hubs, Badaling, Michianyu, Jinshanling, Shanghai Pass with the old dragon head, Jimenku, those are preserved, often heavily restored.
Read elsewhere.
Elsewhere, many parts are in really bad shape, severe disrepair. It highlights how vulnerable this massive thing is, especially the parts most people don't see.
What are the main threats it's facing, besides just age?
It's a mix of things, natural erosion, obviously, but also human impact. Sections have been, and sometimes still are, treated like quarry stones taken for building houses or roads locally.
Seriously, people just take the stones.
Yeah. And then there's graffiti, vandalism. People have even pried off inscribed bricks to sell them. They can fetch like up to 50 RMB, apparently.
That's awful.
And then parts have just been demolished to make way for construction projects or mining. That 2012 report from the National Cultural Heritage Administration was alarming. It estimated 22% of the Ming Great Wall had already disappeared. Gone. That's nearly 2,000 kilometers, or over 1,200 miles.
Wow, 22% gone. That's staggering. Yeah, the environmental stuff must be tough, too, especially on the older, less robust sections.
Oh, absolutely. Erosion from sandstorms is a huge problem, especially out west in places like Gansu province. Those sections were often made of mud or rammed earth, not brick.
So they're much more vulnerable.
Much more. An estimate back in 2007 suggested over 60 kilometers of wall in Gansu could vanish in just 20 years due to sandstorms, reducing walls over 5 meters high to less than 2 meters. Lookout towers just disappear. It's a constant fight against the elements.
And then there's human intervention that maybe doesn't help. I remember hearing about some controversial repairs.
Yes, exactly. There was a case in 2014 repairing a section near Liaoning and Hebei. They basically just slapped concrete over it. It was widely criticized, looked terrible, totally inauthentic.
Oof, concrete.
Yeah. And even more recently, just last year in 2023, some construction workers in Shaanxi province decided to widen an existing gap in a Ming section to make a shortcut for their excavator.
You're kidding. They just knocked a bigger hole in it.
Pretty much. Police described it as causing irreversible damage to the integrity of the Ming Great Wall. It really shows the ongoing struggle between modern development and preserving heritage.
That's deeply concerning. It really raises a big question for all of us, doesn't it? As, global citizens, people interested in history, what does it mean when something this monumental is facing decay, neglect, even deliberate damage like that?
It does. How do we balance preserving these incredible sites with the needs of people living nearby today? What are our responsibilities? It's complex.
Well, this has been an absolutely fascinating deep dive. We've really peeled back the layers on the Great Wall, gone way beyond the usual myths.
Yeah, we've seen it's not one wall, but this incredibly complex system built over dynasties. Its purpose wasn't just defense, but also control, trade.
We looked at the names, how even 10,000 Lai was figurative, and the construction. The sticky rice mortar, minus the bones, thankfully.
Right. And we tackled the space myth, and then faced the tough reality of its current condition, the threats from erosion, and, sadly, human actions.
It definitely shatters that simple monolithic image. The Great Wall is so much more. It's like a living record of empires changing, technology evolving, human stories, successes and failures.
And it really pushes us to think about how we define and protect this kind of shared global heritage, especially when it's so vulnerable. What responsibilities do we have?
Absolutely. It leaves you wondering, what's the next chapter in the wall's incredible long story? And thinking about its future, maybe even what role you, listening now, might play, even just in understanding and appreciating its true complexity.